Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all tonight? Saw that message, Sonia. There's been a BG3 hotfix, so I'm probably going to have to update before playing the game later on. All right, we'll do that. Can he nail the landing? What are we talking about? So, there was a video came out several days ago, well, a few days ago, and it's titled Starfield Shattered Space Deep Dive. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be spoilerish, but it doesn't look like it is, and it's short enough. So I thought, I'm going to watch that. But it was already Tuesday, and I thought, you know what? Probably this will be the subject of the podcast on Thursday. And then I thought, why not wait until Thursday and watch it? And then I could just give you my totally and utterly first thoughts on this. It apparently fixes some crashes, so advisable to update. You pretty much don't have a choice but to update, I think. I think it's not you don't have a choice. So Baldur's Gate 3. Also, new Varun lore in Starfield's website. It's a timeline. Oh, I should probably check. Whoa, no, maybe I don't want to check that. I want to be ignorant of it. I mean, I want to go in not knowing. Big. Oh, and it's a big patch. 65 megabytes. Okay. You were being sarcastic. I got it. Okay. So you thought the deep dive looked promising. Okay, well, that is, of course, in of itself promising. So it's coming out. It's coming out soon, isn't it? Isn't it coming out in like a week or something? So yeah, I'm getting far enough ahead in Fallout London that I will be able to. I'm still going to do a little bit of Fallout London. I'm going to try to do a little every other day at the very least, just to keep going. But I'm going to focus on just steaming through Shattered Space so I can give you guys my thoughts on it. The 30th. All right, so I've got 2 weeks basically, just week and a half. So remember when 65 megabits would be huge for a whole game back in the day? I remember the first hard drives on the PCs being like 10 megabytes. Yeah, a 10 megabyte hard drive. I remember playing games off floppy disks on computers that didn't have hard drives. I remember playing games off tapes. 5 minutes to load a game, 10 minutes sometimes, and if anything went wrong, someone nudged the tape recorder or looked at it funny, you had to start the whole thing again. Oh yeah. And nowadays, you know, could you imagine gamers today waiting 10 minutes to play a game? Could you just imagine it? And the fact that this game might, like, you know, not even load the first attempt. Oh dear. I hate to play the whole, in my day, gamers were real gamers kind of thing. But sometimes I harken back and I do think to myself, what would modern gamers make of that? Okay, did I ever play the Ultima series? Yeah, I played 1 or 2 of the Ultimas. I did play Ultima Underworld 1 and 2. Loved the first one. So, yep. Never played Ultima Online. At least I don't think I played Ultima Online. That was one of the early MMORPGs. Okay, so we are going to be watching. If you've not seen this, you're going in blind with me. Welcome. If you're not, no spoilers, please. No spoilers. Let's see what we can see. I've set it to... Do I want closed captions? Do I need closed captions? I'll put the closed captions on for you guys. All right, got it on 1440p. No, I've not. I've got it on 4K. You know what? It'll come through better quality at 4K. I still like
Hey
this.
everyone, thanks for joining us today. It's been an incredible journey since Starfield launched last year. I want to thank all of you for making it the biggest launch in Bethesda Game Studios history. Your continued support and feedback drive us to making Starfield the best experience possible. Since launch, we've added new features, technical enhancements, fresh content, and the newly released Rev 8, Starfield's first ever land vehicle.
Which I've still not
Now
ridden
we're
in.
expanding Starfield's galaxy with a brand new, completely handcrafted world and deep new storyline.
Completely handcrafted world. I knew it was all going to be on one world. When they say completely handcrafted, sorry if I keep pausing this at annoying moments, are they talking like the entire planet's surface is handcrafted? Because the average planet or even small moon has got something like about 200 Skyrims in it.
This September, we're launching Starfield's first major expansion, Shattered Space. Today, we're giving you the first look at the mysterious homeworld of House Farouk. So let's dive in and explore.
I mean, like, someone said no, just the locations. That makes more sense. I mean, basically, all of the locations are handcrafted, which is nice, but the entire planet cannot be handcrafted. There is just no chance. Unless it's basically when you land on this planet, you're restricted to a Skyrim-sized landmass, which would make sense. Maybe you can go to the other areas of the planet, but I'm going to guess you have to fly. And one of the things I did here is you will not need to fly during this DLC. So it's probably all going to be in one tile, yeah? If you think of normally when you land in Starfield, you land on a location and you have basically a 36 square kilometer area to play in, which is roughly equivalent to Skyrim. It's probably going to be that. You land in one specific place. I mean, maybe there's other parts of the planet, but I'm guessing you have to get in your ship, take off and land again. I don't think what they mean here is the whole planet is crafted, and I will be absolutely staggered if they've got a planet where you could drive around the whole planet. I don't think that's going to happen. But you know what? Let's keep watching.
The fate of our house was written among the stars. The great serpent tells us there is nothing to fear.
Do not force.
At least, not for those who walk the path. You will rise as Varun.
I'm liking the vibe.
We loved Starfield's massive open galaxy, but from early on in our planning, we knew we wanted to introduce a more secluded and handcrafted location, similar to what you've seen from our past expansions. There's so much mystery.
We knew we wanted to do that, he said. Might have been a good idea to do it on the initial release, to be honest. I mean, I'm all for releasing lots of expansions that fill out certain planets, but maybe that should have been something that was done for the release. I can't help but feel that this is actually more a reaction to player feedback. And I don't think that's a bad thing either. I don't even think it's bad for them to say, well, we heard our players and they wanted more, like, you know, on a planet. everything's in one place, you don't have to fly anywhere thing. I think that's good that they do that. Maybe they did plan this all along. Maybe this is what they planned. And maybe they've got, because they talked about having lots of DLCs. So maybe they were actually talking about having lots of fully handcrafted planets eventually. I don't know.
There's so much mystery to House Faroon, and because they've so thoroughly isolated themselves, it made them the perfect faction to explore in a completely self-contained experience.
And so you arise, one of the promised of House Faroon.
From the minute you arrive on Varun Kai, the story never sends you off planet. You're free to leave at any time, but the story is fully centered around life on the Varun homeworld.
Everything you discover, every location you visit, every side mission you seek out, it all tells the story of what happened here and how the Varun people have survived.
I want to go back.
Side mission you seek out,
there.
it all...
I've not done any driving in the car yet, but driving from location to location, and they've got what seem to be little settlements or even townships.
Location you visit, every side mission you seek out, it all tells the story of what happened here and how the Varun people have survived, cut off from the comforts of the settled systems and the rest of humanity.
Vindicator. Harbinger. Reverend.
Promised. One of our main themes throughout the base game is humanity's search for knowledge. Shattered Space is still about that search, but it's also about what happens when it goes too far. It's a very extreme pursuit, and it has backfired horribly for the people of House Faroon.
Oh, wow.
My brother Qasim has been missing for days. I'm beginning to worry that something terrible has happened to him.
I'm almost worrying about, not spoilers exactly, I guess you find out all of this early on in the game, but yeah, this almost has a horror mystery vibe to it. I don't know where this is in the game, of course. This could be halfway through.
Before the start of Shattered Space, a secret
this.
experiment involving grav drive technology went terribly wrong.
It resulted in a massive tear in the fabric of space-time that swallowed a significant portion of the Varun capital of Dazra. You arrived just a few weeks after the vortex incident. It's still very fresh in everyone's minds. There's a massive crater in their city. Nothing has been reconstructed. People are still searching for missing loved ones.
Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done.
The Scaled Citadel, the seat of power for the Varun government, is now trapped within a strange field of energy. Among those missing is Anasco Varun, leader of the Varun people and speaker for the Great Serpent. In his absence, the minor houses that make up House Faroon are all vying for control over the faction's future.
The Zealots were once a part of Varun society. They want to continue the Serpent's crusade. They'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council, or even the reinstatement of their house.
Definitely need to install Better HUD, mate. Install Better HUD.
All must serve. All must serve. All must serve. Set me free. All must serve. Save me.
Varun Kai and Dazra City are like no other location in the base game.
Good. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a horror, psychological vibe from this. Definitely. Beta HUD isn't up to date anymore, sadly. Use version 0.2.2, the alpha. Beta HUD, version 2.0.2.2 or something. There is even an update to get it working. Somebody has added, if you go to the comment section, somebody has included an update file for it with one of the popular HUD mods. I didn't get it to work anymore, but it's still hands down the best HUD mod. It's not compatible with a lot of other HUD mods, but it's still hands down the best HUD mod, as long as you're using 0.22 alpha or something, early test or something it's called. Basically, it's immersive HUD. It's the one I ended up using through most of my playthrough. And absolutely, I won't play without it. I don't care what other HUD mods are out there unless they do the same thing as Beta HUD, which is basically immersive HUD. So, yeah. And when I see gameplay where the experience is appearing at the center of the screen, I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. That's how it is in vanilla Starfield. And the little compass thing the entire time. Sorry.
This game.
From its inception, House Va'ruun has been driven by a singular, unique vision. Because of this, Va'ruun Kai has a completely distinct visual identity. We say it's very alien. You'll see this in the extraterrestrial landscape, gravity anomalies, and much more.
Do you know what I got a vibe of just then? For no reason other than the levitating from place to place and then landing on a house? Morrowind. The Telvanni Towers. Don't know why. That's just what came to me.
Va'ruun Kai is located in the Kavnik system, and it's not the friendliest environment. They believed the Great Serpent led them to Va'ruun Kai, and their whole purpose in being here is to await its return.
You have no concept of what the Great Serpent demands of us. All must serve.
Okay.
It's a dangerous planet, and a lot of the people have retreated to Dazra in order to survive and protect their culture and their way of life. Now you'll find areas of the planet that were abandoned and have since been taken over by Zealots, Spacers, and Crimson Fleet. And humans aren't the only dangers in the Badlands of the planet. With the line between reality and the vortex breaking down, creatures from the other side can slip through, like the vortex horror. When you disturb the barrier between our world and theirs, they can sense it, creating these honestly terrifying ambush scenarios.
In the base game, there's a lot of focus around ranged gun combat. You can engage in a firefight from way in the distance. In Shattered Space, we're closing that distance. Space is scary. Part of getting that across is amping up the aggression and the chaos of combat.
Whoa! Okay, is that a heavy particle beam weapon? Okay.
As you explore the city of Dazra and the surrounding planet, you'll learn the truth of what happened, become entangled in the political feud between the minor houses, and ultimately decide the fate of House Va'ruun, a fate that could affect the rest of the settled systems.
We can restore the intended order of things.
Thank you for joining us for a closer look at Shattered Space. We worked hard to make this a journey you won't forget. We're incredibly grateful for your support and passion. Stay tuned for more updates as we head toward launch on September 30th.
hate what I've just seen. Okay. So. Right. Is the thing. I'm feeling like maybe I shouldn't play that with my, you know, level 100 and God knows what character. Either that or I should put some restrictions on myself and play it without using any powers. I feel I actually feel like that mission, it reminds me a little bit of one or two of or some of the things I saw remind me a little bit of one of the main missions in the base game, where I won't talk about it too much in case someone's not played it. You end up in two realities at once and you keep switching backwards and forwards. And it had a real horror vibe to it, which was awesome. The problem is you almost certainly had a power that kind of made it a little less scary because you could sense life forms. And I can't help but feel that power is going to once again remove some of the scary from that DLC. But also, it looks like they've tried to make it tougher. Like they said, we're going to make it closer. The problem is if you've played the game through a few NG pluses, you know as well as I do that that's not going to make the game hard. If you're on an NG plus playthrough, you've just got. You could probably beat the game just by punching everything to death, sort of thing. If you've got far enough in the NG plus world, so a little side of me thinking that might almost be a reason to do another playthrough, but I am not getting an entire playthrough of. Well, I guess it depends on what the minimum level of Shattered Space would be. I've said this before, I don't honestly think I could stand to start a whole new character now and get what I consider the essential skills just to play Shattered Space. I definitely get the vibe that for Shattered Space, you want the boost pack skills and possibly even the physical skills that give you more mobility in 0G. Which my only character has those. He's got both of the boost pack skills maxed and the 0G movement one. I think he's got that one maxed as well. So that's going to be really useful. And there's a bunch of others. So do a new playthrough with different factions. Well, the problem is the only faction I've not done is the corporation one. I can't remember what its name is. So, but even if I did that, that would take me so long. I want to basically get the DLC and play it as much as I can during a week, get to the end and give you guys a feel for it. But I'm not going to have time to do a whole new playthrough and do like Ryujin, was it? So I don't think I've got time. I don't think I've got time because, like I said, I want to basically not rush through it, but really focus play it, just to get a feel for it, so I can give you guys the thing. So I think I will do it with Malcolm. I think I will do it with my NG plus character. But what I might do is, well, I'm going to see. I might restrict how much I use the powers whilst I'm playing. Because NG Plus does scale up levels, so some of the creatures are tough as well. But if you don't use the powers, you're probably going to have a difficult experience. In fact, as I said, seeing as a new character will probably fairly early on get the sense. What is it? Sense star? Something or other. You can sense life forces. And I feel like that one power does take away some of the horror vibe of some of the missions, which could be. But, I mean, that's a bit of a self-inflicted. You know what I'm probably going to do? I'm probably going to do a mix. I'll probably not use the powers, and then maybe do some where I do the powers. That way, when I review it, I'll be able to. Because I shouldn't give myself artificial limitations just to make the experience better. That is not going to give a fair review. But maybe if I mix it a little bit, don't use the powers, I'll get a better idea of what it's like for a first playthrough, i.e. not an NG Plus playthrough. But if I restrict the use of the one that lets me sense life forces, I will be able to at least comment on that a little bit. But I'll need to use the life force sometimes as well, just to see if it does ruin the vibe, the horror vibe. So I'm probably gonna have to really sort of just do a mix of testing when I play it, which I will. Maybe load an earlier save. Have you tried loading an earlier save in Starfield? It's like, I mean, for a start, you have to clean your save folder every now and again, or it just becomes untenable. I do have backups of most of them, but a bit of I mean, and I'll be honest with you. I don't think I'm gonna have the time to. I don't want to mess around too much getting this all set up just so I can test it out. But yeah, you get the Sense Star stuff in the first batch of temple hunting, so it's pretty easy to get. Yeah. I do feel like there's definitely some room for mods that really overhaul the power experience, especially for NG Plus people. But I think they need to overhaul the character build system. I would like to see some mods that actually overhaul the entire character build system so that you can do a single playthrough and have a build. Because one of the things I find annoying with Starfield is the build system seems to be revolving around NG+. By the time you get your build, doing what a build should do, being a build, I feel like you're at the end of the game and ready to go through the bloody Unity and do NG+. Whereas I think a good RPG, your build should start to become a noticeable build a third the way through the game, and a powerful build 2/3 of the way through the game, so that you can spend the last third of the game really just playing your play style and thoroughly enjoying it. Whereas I just never got that feeling with Malcolm. It never got that ship captain, that explorer ship captain of a large ship build that I wanted. I never got it in my first playthrough. I didn't get it until my NG Plus playthroughs. So... And also the powers scale with NG+. I feel like they need to make it so that you can actually discover more temples and maybe get your powers up to level 3, but never above. Because once you get the powers up to a certain level, they just become crutch. They really do. So... But that's outside of this discussion, really. It's all about the Shattered Space DLC. I like what I saw. I am definitely looking forward to trying it out. And I will try, even though I'm going to do it with my NG Plus character. I am, because I'm not... I mean, it depends what level you have to be to start Shattered Space. I mean, it could be the case that you could start Shattered Space at like level 5. And I would be curious as to what it's like going in with a very weak character. But it kind of looked tough. Like it's supposed to be tough. And I'm not starting a whole new character. So they should let us have more than one perk per level. Yeah, or level up twice as fast in a normal game. That would be another option. Just have the game level you up twice as fast so that, But yeah, there's a load of things they could do with doing if you want to make Starfield the sort of game you play multiple times with multiple characters, I think, rather than play it once with a character idea and then just stick to NG+, because you really can't face starting again without like several of the skills that took way too long to get up. It took way too long for me to get a lot of the stuff that I just almost feel is essential now. Oh, I can't believe it took 16 entire levels to be able to take all my companions on a ship with me. Just to do that took me 16 levels, which is about 1/3 of my playthrough just to get everyone on the ship. All right, so yeah, no, it looked good though. It did look good. And even though they said they planned this from the start, and I'm not going to call them liars, so I'm going to accept that they did, but it also seems to be exactly what people were asking for. Handcrafted locations. When they say a completely handcrafted planet, though, I feel like that's going to bite them in the ass. Because I feel like there's no chance they've got a handcrafted planet. Literally zero chance that they've handcrafted an entire planet. Even a small bloody moon, right? Anyone who's thinking that might happen, stop thinking that right now. Please do not come at me and say, I was so disappointed that I didn't get an entire handcrafted planet because they said it. It must be an area on the planet that's been handcrafted. And if you can go anywhere else on the planet other than that handcrafted area, I can't help but feel those areas are, So either the entire bit of the planet you can land on has been handcrafted, or only the bit that the DLC's focused on is handcrafted, and there's a ton of stuff outside of it where you could land on it, but it's procedurally generated. That would be my expectation. Man, YouTubers are going to have a field day with that. Yeah, please don't. Please, guys, don't be those people. Don't be they told us an entire planet was handcrafted and it wasn't. Yeah, my guess is that's just them. I mean, look, because it's going to be this whole argument, and they'll go, and Bethesda will say, well, yeah, but the only place you can land on is this one Skyrim-sized landmass, and it's handcrafted. Therefore, the entire planet is handcrafted. And then someone else is going to go, that's not an entire planet. Because, and it's just going to get silly, right? If they've got a Skyrim-sized bit of landmass that's handcrafted, I'm going to be happy with it. I am. If it's going to be that thing where we go from one place to the next in the little buggy, because I've not driven the buggy yet, right? Then I'm going to be happy. So, yes. How they handle the edge of the map, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, what? West Virginia was handcrafted but was procedurally generated on their end. Oh, look, I know a lot of what we think of as handcrafted areas in a lot of their worlds were actually procedurally generated to some degree, and then they went in after the fact and handcrafted certain areas and I don't even mind that. I actually think you could procedurally generate an entire landmass and then go, all right, that's where this city should be, that's where this city, and then you actually have human beings go in and handcraft the cities that grow up, or maybe handcraft the land a little to shape it in the way they wanted it or something. There is a difference between the sort of procedural generation we saw in Starfield and the procedural generation that was used in their other games. So, anyway, you should download some of the vehicle mods. I should try the vehicle before I start modding it. Buggy is hilarious. Entirely handcrafted maps on a planet doesn't quite ring quite as good, I guess. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be handcrafted maps either. As in, like, it depends on how big the maps are. I'm assuming that each area is going to be the 6x6 tile, because that's what their engine seems to be able to handle. And we've been told you don't need to fly. You don't need this. Well, technically, they said you don't need to leave the planet. But I'm going to be kind of annoyed if to go from one tile to the next tile, I have to do the whole get in the ship, fly up, go and land again sort of thing. And I think a lot of people will. People are expecting to be able to buggy the entire way around this entire DLC. Yeah? So I don't think it's going to be lots of different handcrafted areas set on the planet, although I might be wrong. But if I am, I'm going to guess a lot of people are going to shout at that, because unless they have figured a way to actually expand beyond that 6x6 kilometer tile size, maybe they are now allowing you to travel from one side of the planet to the next in the buggy. between handcrafted areas separated by procedurally generated terrain. Don't know. Doubt it though. We'll have to see. But now I'm just, you know, spitballing when I don't really need to. I don't really need to. Because we're getting it in a week and a half. So, handcrafted points of interest, probably. Well, again, it depends. It depends. I mean, all points of interest were sort of handcrafted, really, if you actually look at them. They were just repeated. They used the same handcrafted asset over and over. Although I didn't notice that as much, believe it or not, because I didn't do points of interest in my playthrough. I think they've expanded the landing zone before, though, that they didn't announce it. Oh, okay. Well, look, I mean, really, we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see. And if they've done something like that, I'm going to be very curious what they could do in the future and what, indeed, mod makers could do in the future. I mean, if they make it so that you can travel around a planet without having to zone from tile to tile, so to speak, if they make it so that you can keep just going, that opens the possibilities for mod makers to do some fairly incredible stuff as well. But we're spitballing too much, and I've got a game to play. That's it, ladies and gents. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive of... Well, it's not even a deep dive. This very surface dive of their deep dive of Shattered Space. I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a play. It won't be a Let's Play. I've told you guys that. There's no space in the timetable anytime soon, and I do mean that. I'm not ruling out doing a Let's Play of Starfield at some future date, but right now we've got too much going. I've got Fallout London, Cyberpunk's finishing, I've got Skyrim Chapter 11, and Tale of Two Wastelands Chapter 6, and Stalker 2, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, all in the near-ish future. So Starfield's going to be a long way off if it ever does return to the channel. I know some people were upset by that, but there's just nowhere in the timetable for it. There isn't. And it's not a popular game, so I'm not bumping something else for it. Because I can't. I really can't do that, guys. That would just be bad, unfortunately. So I'm going to be playing through it. I'm going to be playing through it as a player. And I'm going to try to resist the urge to give myself artificial rules. I'm going to try to play it the way you guys, the average person, myself included, would play. And I do. I will not be talking to myself while I play it. I'm just going to play it. And I'm going to try not to do arbitrary rules like don't use powers. But I might do a little bit of not using powers every now and again to try and see how it might work for a character who didn't have all the powers maxed out. So that'll give me a better idea of how it might be for a first character playthrough. And I'll just have to announce when I do my review, air quotes, that it was done on an NG Plus character. So, ladies and gents, thank you very much for joining me. I will see those of you joining me for Baldur's Gate 3 in a few minutes. I'm going to go and update the game, and I will be restarting the stream for everyone. So, I don't think I actually had Twitch settings set up. I should have had it set as something else, shouldn't I? And I don't think I did. So, all right. Oh, God, there's no credits rolling, because there's been nothing to credit. All right, that's it. We're going. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in a couple of minutes if you're joining me for Baldur's Gate. Good night.